Alan, do you want to address the issue raised regarding traffic? Not as a whole, but I think the entrance question in terms of phasing, how is this going to affect building that part of your development?
Sure. But I'd rather say we pay taxes. I just want to ask Jeannie, yeah, I wish we could figure out a way not to, but yeah, we pay taxes. Because it's a state store doesn't mean there's an exemption there. In terms of traffic, frankly, it's been my experience that because most people think the only way in and out, and frankly it is probably the only way in and out of this current state store, is on Center Avenue. Those of us who are wily know you can sneak out the back and go out Penn Street, but most people seem they just head out Center Avenue, and that's the traffic problem because you got the traffic light at Sycamore and State. Frankly, I think the traffic problem that's over there is going to be eased by having the entry off of State Street. And in terms, because we don't like to do things twice and incur the expense, the idea is we put the state store where it's going to be, and it's going to be where we believe the entranceway is shown on the plan. And again, this isn't engineered, so it has to be fine-tuned. Now, if the borough decides, after reviewing the master plan, the whole thing, that they don't like that entryway there, well, then we have to deal with that and incur that expense to move that driveway and that entrance and that sort of thing. But right now, we're proposing using pretty much the entrance where it is. I would like to ask, when we go for the permit, that we allowed to dress it up so it's more attractive than just the sea of blacktop that it is right now. But there is blacktop there. There's a lot of blacktop there, and so there's plenty of area to park right now. Obviously, Mr. Stockberger must have had 1,000 cars parked there at one time. So did I answer the question?
And as I understand it, you are currently conducting a traffic study?
Yes. The traffic study, in fact, I think the people were out today and even yesterday, the engineers doing the counts and that sort of thing, and we hope to have that by the next Planning Commission meeting.
Okay. Any other questions? Does council have any other questions on this particular part of the question? Okay. Does anyone wish to make a motion or regarding retaining the state store or encouraging retention of the state store?
I would make a motion to allow a phasing of Stocking Works 2 to allow application and early approval of the state store location.
Anyone wish to second our motion? Step back perhaps
Yeah.
and make a motion just about retaining the state store and encouraging.
I'll
and
withdraw
go to
my
second.
motion. How's that?
Start again, yeah. Since we've had discussion about keeping the state store here, can we break this into two?
However you wish.
Let's try that.
All right, off the top of my head, I'll move to have council express its support for retaining the Pennsylvania State Store location in Newtown Borough.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I just think it's appropriate for me to make a disclosure. My law firm rents space from Mr. Smith in the original Stocking Works building. I don't think it presents a conflict of interest in any way. We've been there 3 years. We recently extended the lease. I wasn't involved in the lease negotiations because I knew that I was running for council at the time and that I might be involved in making decisions relating to the expansion of the Stocking Works area. The lease is at market rate. It increases annually based on a CPI index, and
It's actually way below rate. Low.
Oh.
Wait till next year.
Other than Mr. Smith being the best landlord I've ever dealt with, I don't see that there's any conflict of interest, but I thought a disclosure was appropriate.
One other question. Will there be any other uses above the State Store building that we should be aware of? Because, I mean, it's a multi-story building.
That's correct. And I guess what we could do is, that's something, I mean, ultimately, we'd like other uses. If the borough's, I'm really only interested in getting the liquor store, the anchor. So if the borough decided that we don't want those other uses to take place until a later time, that would be fine with us. It's a bit of a hardship, but we could live with that.
But the building is multi-story.
Yeah, architecturally, we don't want a single-story building there.
Have a designation for that other space? How it's going to be
The
used?
type of use?
Yes,
Office.
okay. I just think we needed to know
Sure.
what's being built.
Any other discussion? Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I did.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The other issue to be discussed is whether council will support phasing of this project in terms of allowing the appropriate preliminary and final development of that carved-out portion, correct me if I'm got this wrong, but carved-out portion of the larger project to allow building to occur in that section before the remainder of the project is fully designed. Is that?
Correct.
That's all right, okay. Do I have a motion?
Julie, if I
sure.
may, not being familiar with the layout of the property, the number of lots that are involved and other issues, I just want to clarify or ask you to clarify that what this resolution is doing is not in any way waiving any of the requirements of the land development ordinance or the zoning ordinance, and not in any way committing the council to anything other than the idea that they would accept an application that may not show all of the details of the project, but to the extent you have concerns about stormwater and other issues that are on a larger scope, clearly those will still be, need to be addressed in the ordinary course.
Right.
So I just want to clarify that it's simply allowing or showing an acceptance of a phased project, but not in any way waiving any rights or requirements that the developer may have.
Okay. Can I have such a motion?
I'll restate my motion again with the context that the solicitor has just correctly prefaced it with. And with that, the motion would be to allow phasing of Stocking Works 2, to allow application and consider early approval of the State Store location.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do we have a recommendation from the Planning Commission in support of this, or has that been discussed at Planning Commission?